Hello, welcome to We Have Issues. I'm Anthony.
And I am Stevie Wildcard.
Every week, Steve Wildcard and I get together and we do our best to overcome the various issues and obstacles that life throws our way in order to get something done. Most recently, we've been working on a supernatural superhero culty comedy comic called Deathless.
Beautiful.
We did it. We nailed it. It was first take, first try, Steven. No one needs to know any different. That was it.
So it's supernatural superhero culty comedy comic called Deathless.
Yes. But yeah, so we've been working on this book. We are on issue 3 now. We haven't launched the Kickstarter yet. We're trying to get as much of it done as we possibly can before we just can't take it anymore. We're like, please tell us you want this book. But Steven, how are you feeling about it? And what'd you get done this week?
I didn't finish the page, but as a whole, I'm loving the way that, especially because of the pages I'm in now. I think it's all coming together really well, with the storytelling. Because I know you were nervous going into issue 3 because it's a lot of M kind of exploring Deathless's past, but I feel like this issue is actually really entertaining art-wise, and the book itself, the comedy in it's going to be great. So I'm actually feeling really confident about issue 3, especially with what happens at the end.
I completely stopped listening after you said you failed and didn't acknowledge that. You failed, Steven. No, I'm kidding. That was I'm with you. I also failed this week. I'll tell you. I did my editing thing last week, and then this week I was just I had storms and all kinds of nonsense, and I did not work on anything important really. I mean, I made a thumbnail for the live show, and that's nothing. That took me 2 minutes, so I can't pretend that was any real productive work. So what I'm saying is I did a lot this week, Steven. I feel like I was super productive. I was a part of the team. I was, I hold this thing together. But no, dude. I'm with you. But I think you're right. I have been kind of nervous about issue 3 because it's a lot of conversation, not always very funny, which is a crutch. It's a crutch for me, Steven. I like it. I like that Deathless affords me the opportunity to just be ooh, I don't really like the way this is going, but if he says some funny things, I'll feel much better about it.
If I can Jim Gaffigan the crowd, I'm perfectly happy.
Yeah, dude. And so yeah, I mean, it makes me feel good that you're confident about it. So I think it's gonna be a good issue. And I think so far everything I've seen of your art is awesome. And I'm pretty excited to go into these next 2 weeks where I took next week off of work for the summer, just general summertime with Atlas.
That's awesome.
And so that way I can use a huge chunk of that time to just color, I'm just
I do have to send you the line work without the lighting still. I keep forgetting to do that, but I'll update a folder for you. So that way you can just color and just assume anywhere where there's energy. Don't worry about going too crazy with the color there, but
right. Yeah, dude. But I'm really excited about it. I think it's a good book. I think it's the part that you're drawing now, I'm really excited for everyone to get into. It's a flashback to the 80s, and it's fun. We get to see other people who have tried this particular spell or ritual and how it works out or doesn't for them, and it's fun.
It's funny. On the page I just sent you, I actually had Mohawk guy as the one that got attacked initially, but you and I crazy with our room spacing and where things are in the room. Deathless was technically kind of behind the long-haired guy, in between them, and that's the only wall you didn't see in that one page. So I'm oh, if I put the couch and the curtains there, that's the wall you don't see, and the couch is kind of near the long-haired guy, so it does kind of make sense. I'm so they were rough still, so I just changed it from Mohawk guy to long-haired guy, and that guy's getting roughed up, and it was only supposed to be one panel of rough up, but I'm you know what? I want to see two hands kind of going in.
Oh, it's so good. I love it, dude. But comic book aside, so if you're joining us for the first time, first of all, welcome. Thank you for participating in whatever the heck we're about to do. But make sure you hit the subscribe button, share it with all of your friends and your loved ones and your enemies. If you hate us, tell your enemies that we're the best thing ever or worst thing ever, whatever you think will hurt them most, and throw us at them like weapons. Steven and I are here for you. We are your katanas. We are your shurikens or whatever, So every week we get together, we talk about our comic, but we also talk about the things that distracted us, the things that we did otherwise. So anything that happened in your life, Steven? I know you had a whole allergy situation last week that left me completely alone in the trenches taking grenades. No big deal. I'm not saying that I held them.
You did wonderful. And honestly, the amount of views we've been getting in the last few weeks, thank you all so much. Pause real quick. You all have been so friggin' fantastic and wonderful, and we appreciate it. It really gives us that lift. When we cross the 100 view mark, it's like a breath of fresh, it's we can kind of sigh and be relief. And then just to see it go and 150, 170 mark is just fantastic.
I really want to get to the point where I no longer like I want to take you all for granted. That's what I want. I need you guys. I need you to share this show so much that I just like once we get to that 100 mark, I'm not happy. Like I am happy. That's the problem, Steven. I'm I'm easily satisfied. I'm so easily satisfied with YouTube. Like, and maybe that's a problem. Maybe I need to be like, oh, I gotta push harder. I don't feel any of that. Like if you're totally 100% right. Once we get to 100 views, I'm like, oh, we did our job. That's all we needed. Like I can't be happier than 100 people wanting to hear whatever the heck we're talking about every week. That's fantastic. But I want to be an egomaniacal monster. I want you guys.
I'll keep him in check, ladies and gentlemen. Do not worry. It's been my gig since the dawn of time.
Just let me. I want to create this cult, be the leader, get this Kool-Aid, and really believe that I am a golden god. And I want to say it from a rooftop, Steven, just once. Just once. And I'll believe. So I just need you all to boost these views a little so I can be like, oh, 100.
I am the god, golden god.
So no, but thank you. You're all amazing. Thank you for joining us. So this week, Steven, I do want to talk about something real quick. Just real quick, something's been bothering me. I almost wanted to call it like a monster test. It's not really a monster test, and it's not really fair.
It's not quite a monster test, but here it goes anyway. Just a short little jingle.
So we get together, we talk about monsters, creatures, the boogans, things that go bump in the night, various ghosts and goblins and such. And we talk about what we think they are and where they come from. This time, I just want to point out that I noticed a new cryptid. Like I was like, oh, you know what? Like there's a cryptid among us that like we all just take for granted. We're all just like, yeah, that's a real thing, but it's a cryptid. It's clearly a cryptid, right? So imagine, if you will, there's a creature who quaffs its hair in such a way, okay, that it tries to pass as younger than it is, as cooler than it is, as hipper, as more hip, than it is. Okay. Not only that, but it carries itself despite having zero intimidating muscular features. Okay. It tries to carry itself as this intimidating force. Okay. And it has its own language where it like speaks with its hands like this. And it almost always has an Italian, like New York accent. And what I'm getting at, Steven, is the mafia is a cryptid. Like the mafiosos
as a whole
is a cryptid. It's a cryptid element because, Steven, I've been watching The Sopranos, and I have to tell you, I have never been less intimidated by a cast of characters. Like no, I might now, mind you, yes. Anyone with a gun pointing their gun in your face or whatever, like sneaking up on you and smacking you in the head with a giant metal bat, basically, is like, yeah, okay, that's gonna suck. That's not great. However, dude, think about this for a second, okay? Think about this for a second. If you and I are in a cult, right? Like, let's just say we're in a group, right? And everyone in our cult or everyone in the periphery of the cult who's aware of our cult would know us as the cult members that we are, as the creators of the cult, whatever. And maybe to whatever degree they agree or believe in us, they would respect us as such, right? That makes sense. When we walk into Walmart, they're not going to be like, oh, they're those two cult guys. They're going to be like, where's my mango? Like, I want my mangoes. Give me my mangoes. They don't care about
juiciest us this time of year. I need my succulent mangoes.
So like these mafioso guys just like pass as normal people, like vampires walking through a rave. They just like walk among us like sharks on land.
I know what you are.
Say it.
You put grease in your hair and you slick it back. You order gabagool whenever we go to an Italian restaurant.
Say
it.
I want you to say it out loud.
Mafia.
So it's so true though. Okay, and it's so funny. It's so funny because like they all seem so ridiculous. And you know what they seem like, Steven? You know what they seem like? They seem like everyone's uncle that they really don't want to get cornered by at Thanksgiving. Like that's what they seem like. Like they all seem like, but the problem is it's someone else's uncle. And in public, you just don't care about those people. Like when you see them, you're like, oh, look at this moron, and just walk away and you leave, and like, and it's funny because I feel like, how you know how like in the 90s and early 2000s even like and obviously before then people would get into trouble or like their cars would break down and be like, oh, this is the start of a horror movie, but now we're like they'd pick up their phones and no one would have any kind of issues in this situation. That's how I feel about every episode of The Sopranos. I'm like, okay, they're in public right now and that guy's just like taking out his gun. There are 400 people around that would be filming it and being like, oh, like, and immediately, like, there's no chance. People would be screaming gun and running like crazy. Like, there's just like so many things that wouldn't work now that, you know, I see on The Sopranos. I'm like, they're just acting like this is just like, it's cool. And we're supposed to all be like, oh, that's just New York, I guess. You know, like but
you know, it's 12 o'clock on an afternoon.
It's so silly, dude. But they all look like they take bowling really seriously. Is it like I want to see a sitcom where it's like
they hit up the 25-cent wing nights at the bowling alley.
That's 100% what it is. Like I would, as much as I really liked, like I really loved the first like 2.5, 3-ish seasons of Sopranos. I would much prefer, rather than keeping that show going, they should have just like panned the camera over to like a similar but lesser version of The Sopranos, where it's just like the bowling mafia, you know, it's like that he's the bowling don. You don't mess with him because in his world, just like everyone else's world, it's just a subjective hierarchy, just like anything else. No one, like, yeah, of course, at some point I don't even understand how this works. How does so Tony Soprano is this known mafioso guy, can't pin anything on him, yet everyone around seems to know who he is like Kingpin. Like, this is silly. It's getting crazy. No one's just gonna shoot this guy. It's like Batman. No one shoots him in the face. Like, this is
the fact that he doesn't have a Daredevil as an arch nemesis just proves that he's not the true Kingpin.
It's 100% true. like the best thing that could happen.
And wait, can I add too that Marvel made that kind of more intimidating with Kingpin, because Kingpin is pretty freaking. He takes all that to the extreme, right?
Okay, 100%. But the funniest thing about that is, so Kingpin looks like one of those guys. He looks like he's like this big guy. It's 100% muscle. So yeah, he is literally
not an ounce of fat.
Not an ounce of fat on his body. So he's just like this like beast of a person. Whereas like, yeah, Tony Soprano's like a big guy. I'm sure he's strong, but like he's not scary. Like, it looks like I cannot run Tony Soprano. I could trip him. It's like, I'm not like I don't want to get in a fight with anyone, but I would much rather get in a fight with Tony Soprano than someone who's more in shape than Tony Soprano. You know what I'm saying? Like I you know, it's just, and it's not even him. It's more like his periphery, like his group, his entourage, his Sinister Six of like old Italian men is, dude, it is so funny. He is. I mean, wait, what's up better? Like, I know I can't be too. I'm Italian. I should be able to. His Sicilian Six.
Oh, his Sicilian Six is, dang. That was fly. That was Sicilian Six. That was so good that I said fly. Like, I brought back. Like, I didn't even have a word for it. Like, I need to go to the archives and pull out a word for this.
No, but I you know what's funny? I like the show, but it's been reminding me of how many times I've started shows and I've kind of just fallen out of love with them as it's gone on. You know what I mean? Like, Dexter was like that for me, you know?
The first 4 seasons of Dexter. Season 3 is a little weak, but yeah, first 4, dude,
solid. So good. And it's crazy, you know, and I
guess it's really knowing your stories, like, value. Like, yeah. I guess they just make that call. They make that choice somewhere along the way, and they're like, money is more important than me telling a very beautiful story, so I'm just gonna sell out.
Shit. Dude, I would do anything to be able to talk to the creators of The Sopranos, because it seems at certain points where I'm like, I feel like they were worried that the audience was getting ahead of them. So they were like, we're not going to do what everyone thinks we're going to do. We're going to murder this character instead. I'm like, that was dumb. Like, you shouldn't have killed this character, or like, you should do something with this character, but you're not like, like, without, there are no real spoilers here, but the son of Tony Soprano, Anthony Soprano, I feel like the most obvious story arc there is the father watching the son, who doesn't seem like the sort of person who would benefit from that life, fall into that life through a series of unfortunate events. That feels like that's probably what like I'd imagine they would do. Like, when I first started watching the show, I'm like, oh, there's a son. at some point he's going to take a turn and start trying to get into this life, and it's going to end poorly for someone teaching the father something and teaching like, and everyone learns something. Dude, they dropped the ball with this son altogether. They're like, oh, you know what we should do? Make him nothing. We'll make him nothing. We're gonna make him just like a layabout who, like, he literally has no character. He's someone who he kind of skirts. He uses like his father's name a little to get recognition in clubs and like seem cool. It's nothing. Like, it's just a big nothing burger. It's crazy to watch, because I'm just like, they have all of these characters and
So much potential that they
so
could have
much,
used for
yeah.
story.
Yeah, and it's that way with a lot of characters, and it's like it's like Game of Thrones, where it's like every season they end up focusing on some aspect of a story where I'm like, why did you do this? Like, you had all of this potential and you focused on this part of it. I'm like, oh my god, why?
What's it called? What were they, something their expectation? What's the word I'm looking for? Subvert.
When you try, they try to subvert expectations.
And like, I was actually going to say, while you were saying this about the Sopranos, is like David from Game of Thrones post, all of George R. Martin's available story,
Right.
they were accused of like subverting expectations just to subvert expectations. But
Yeah.
it sounds like Sopranos may have been the forerunner of this. And that, funny enough, another HBO show. So it makes you wonder if it's something in the higher ups or in the production. Like, I don't know.
I don't know what that is. I don't know if it's like maybe they get it in people, or maybe the network or them. I don't know who's doing it, but maybe they get it in their heads that like, oh, if the viewers, the audience thinks they know what's going to happen, they're not going to watch the end of it.
But that's not true. People love to be right. Like,
that's okay.
That's how excited that guy would be if he guessed it and he got it.
Dude, 100%. I was gonna say that there are. I can see where there are truths there with some things, not narrative fiction. Like, I will watch any story and be like, oh, I think I know where this is gonna go. The only exception is when I feel like I feel like it's being mishandled and it's a big twist, and I'm like, oh, is that the whole story? Is this big twist? If I figure out a huge twist way early on, it kind of feels like but not a story arc. There's a difference between like, oh, I realized so and so is dead, or I realized so and so is, whatever, versus I think this character is going to go on this whole journey. No, you want to watch the whole freaking journey. Like, I definitely do. I want to, and like, I want you to focus on these characters that I really like. And, it's, so yeah, I do think they try to subvert expectations, and like, for the worst. Like, I don't know why they do it.
If it's gonna like jack your story up just so you can gotcha people, it's definitely not worth doing. Like, it's just accept the fact that people got together, they love what you're doing so much that they came to the only real conclusion that could have come here, just like you did. And then instead of changing it last minute, like, just reward the people that have been watching the show and could actually speculate and guess that. That's crazy.
Well, and what
we're not certain that's what they did, but one would assume that.
And I'm sure like some of it, aside from just trying to like, subvert expectations and such, some of it's probably them saying like, hey, in this world, anything can happen. If if you buy the ticket, you take this mafia ride, so like, sometimes people just get killed, and sometimes this happens, and it's like, yeah, but you know what? It would have been a more interesting story to watch this character not die, because the way they.
And that's what's funny about when you create fiction is you kind of, yes, you can apply those laws into the reality, but pick characters that aren't going to impact. Things that you can do otherwise. You can still have shock value. You can still do things that are shocking.
Dude, it's crazy.
Lend to that world, you know what I'm saying? But that's the thing about fiction is, yes, these things could just happen, but guess what? You're the god of this universe, and they don't have to happen here.
Yeah, dude,
it's be that way sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. It's been driving me crazy, but I'm on the last season now, so I'm gonna finish it no matter what. But the good thing is I get to color while I finish it, so that's that's awesome. Nice. It's always nice to like. I feel like I'm multitasking. It's I'm not just watching a show. I get to color, so. I have that. But otherwise, dude, I don't know. I've been thinking about a lot of random stuff this week. We haven't done a Pitches Get Stitches in a while. I think we should probably just do a quick one. You want to do let's do a quick pitches get stitches.
It's not the full thing, it's the quick one. It's the fastest pitches get stitches. In fact, we're not even gonna get stitches. We're just gonna put a band-aid over it. There's no need for butterfly bandages or stitches. It's a quick get pitches. No stitches.
That was beautiful, Steven.
Thank you.
So every once in a while, when I'm, just like sifting through life, just you know how you tread water of life. You know how that works, where you try not to drown, and you're like, hey, I'm not drowning right now. I can think of something that's not, survival. And so I was doing that, and I was like, oh, what do I think about? And I was thinking about like fandoms, right? And I was just thinking about like fandoms and like how like people become obsessed with things, and that just like the whole like Kathy Bates misery like level of craze that people could get. And I was like, wouldn't it be interesting if there was a band that was on tour, right? And they're going on tour and they're going from town to town, and they start noticing that every night the same girl is just like standing in the middle of the crowd, just like nodding along to their song, like to their music, and just like every night she's like center stage, and
as if the spotlight is on her. They can pick her out.
Exactly. So every night she's there, and one night, the lead singer just like calls her out, and she's like, we know you love us. You're here every night. And she's like, huh? Yeah. And she starts freaking out. Like it's the best day of her life. Like she's never been happier in her whole life. And they call her up on stage, and she's just like, oh my gosh, I've been following you guys. I love you. I took off a whole summer, and and all this. And she's freaking out. They invite her in the back, and she's like, oh my God, I'm so happy. And they're like, hey, are you planning on going on the rest of the tour? And she's like, yes. And they're like, do you want to ride with us on our tour bus? Because of course these are kind of skeevy douchey rock guys. And
it's like, yeah, like 80s era scum.
Oh, yes. So she's like, I would like nothing more. That's amazing. And she's like, should I go home and get my, get some clothes or something? And they're like, no, we'll stop, and she's like, okay. So she gets in the bus, and as they're driving, one of them is like, hey, let me show you where I sleep, like my place in the back.
Pulling that little move.
So she goes back with him, and she's like trying to talk to him, and she's like, oh my gosh, like my favorite, like the bass player is my favorite, and blah, 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 I love it, and he's just so great. And like the the guitarist who took is taking her back is just like, yeah, he's like newer to the band, he's not as important as but he's like kind of trying to like have an ego about
him.
He's
bass for crying out loud.
Exactly. So
he does what I do, just minus the middle finger, okay? Like the ring finger. He's all index, okay? He's all index.
You only need the one if you're doing it right. No, it's not. Stop it. So okay. So they get to the back, and he's talking to her, and he's like playing music, and he kind of like puts his hand on her, and she's like, kind of like brushes it away, like, no, let me hear more of your music. And he kind of makes a move, and she tears his throat out and just completely kills him, like drinking all of his blood, and just immediately destroys him, like covering his mouth. And like they just hear music like blaring and stuff, and thinks like, oh look, she's like doing stuff with him. So she like cleans up, like takes off her like bloody shirt, and is just wearing like kind of like an like not a bra, but like just undershirt,
like a
tank, like something sexier, and she like walks out like all clean with like fewer clothes on, less clothes on, and they all think like, oh my gosh, who's next? And she's like, who's next? And so yeah, so then one by one she goes through this band, absolutely draining and destroying them, making her way to the bass player. And it's called Fangirl.
Love it. Oh, that's so good.
Fangirl. It makes sense. I mean, it's Fangirl, but it would be Fangirl. Like, come on, that's right.
Oh,
right. It writes itself. It's right there. It's so easy.
It's just right there for you, ladies and gentlemen.
It's so much fun. It's just like, I would love it. But anyway, that's like that's what I do when
and then the end of the movie, the bass player joined. He recently joined. Blah 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 blah. bass player is the vampire that turned her into a
Turned
vampire.
into a
Then they
vampire.
fucking just go off into the
Nice. I
sunset.
like that. That's actually
Yeah,
a lot
you
of
know
fun.
what I'm saying?
That's fun. It's his new duet, his new side project. Oh, dude. But yeah, like so there was a storm last week. I had a couple days off of work due to like crazy flooding, and I couldn't leave my house. And I was just like, kind of like, I don't know, Atlas and I were going a little stir crazy. Then we finally like everything parted. We got to go see Inside Out 2, which was really good and emotional and crazy. And it felt good. And then I had a weekend, and then I had to go back to work, Steven. I had to go back to work, and it sucked my soul dry. And I was just sitting there, like just like standing there doing my work, just thinking, like, why am I here? This sucks. I should God, I need to not be happy when I get 100 followers or 100 views anymore. I need to take that for granted. Those people don't matter.
We need 1,000.
We need 1,000. No. But yeah, so like I was just like why am I not better? But I was like, what if I was famous and then a vampire murdered me? So I guess it's silver linings, I guess. Like I'm basically nobody, but at least I'm not getting murdered on a bus by a fangirl. So yeah. I mean, there's that.
Well, you would never be in that position because you're not POS. So
that's absolutely true. But yeah, I mean, I guess that's true. That's something about that script where it's like I wonder how would it work when she gets to like the keyboardist and he's like not interested at all. He's just like do you want to see me play some chopsticks or like whatever? I know Chopin. And yeah, so it's like, and then like because they couldn't all be. I mean, of course they could all be. Like every slasher movie is like that. Every slasher movie is just like every character is a monster. Every character is the worst. Every character is very killable, and you're welcome. That's what they do. They're like, we want you.
Keyboardist, what you would do is he wouldn't be the bad guy, and he wouldn't be a douche, but he would be the one that realizes something is going on in the tour bus and get killed because he's almost coming to the conclusion. He's the guy that's figuring it out, and then he's like, guys, no, she's killed. And then that's what you do with that character. If you don't want a character to be a horrible human being, you make them be the
one. Steven. So she kills the rhythm guitarist first, and eventually she makes her way to the lead guitarist, and he's like, I'm not a Van Halen, I'm a Van Helsing.
Oh damn. And like and then, yeah, dude, epic like Van Helsing fight. And then that's when you would do the bass player reveal as the second vampire because you think he's gonna win.
You think he's gonna win, then the vampire. Yeah, that would be pretty funny. That's a bit.
Dang, we just wrote a movie.
See, that's bitches get stitches. But otherwise, dude, I didn't I just spent a bunch of time with Atlas this week. I didn't really get much done. I did hear back from the person I did editing for. Did I tell you about that?
I know you've been editing something, so that's.
So I helped someone edit a book, and it was a funny experience for me, Steven, because I kind of took the advice of like if you're offered a job and it's not it's something you think you might be able to do, I just said yes and I figured it out. This is what I did. I was like I just asked questions. I was like, what do you need from me? I'm gonna do my best, But it was so much fun because I was like I said to her, I was like, I'm going to just leave these comments of various types. Some are going to be formal, like grammatical punctuation, like that sort of thing, and some of them are going to be word choices, but other things I'm going to make comments as a reader as I go through this, as I'm reacting. So basically what I did is I mystery science theatered someone's book.
That's awesome though,
and it was so much fun because like it was a really good book and it was a lot of fun, and it was like similar, it had like a similar feel to like a Dexter, but not really. It was darker than Dexter. It was like it was someone's descent, in such a way, and like there's some cool elements going on. But it was so much fun to comment. But every once in a while, I got to make these fun comments that when you make a joke and you're like, you had to be there, like that kind of thing, where you're like, ooh, this joke is so good, but you need like that. Every time we ever have a conversation when I go over your house, it's like you have to be here for this hour in order to understand this one joke.
You have to eat the whole 7-layer dip to appreciate the guacamole on top. All right,
100, yeah, dude, 100%. And that's how it felt doing this, because I was like, these are jokes that are literally, I think they're like, some of these things I'm writing are making me laugh, and I can't wait for this person to read them. But I was like, it's so interesting. It's like I don't know, it was kind of like Zen-like, you know, because I'm like, no one, this is for only an audience of one person, and that's it. It's gone. Like, it doesn't matter. It's making me laugh. It's making me happy. It's making them laugh. It's making them happy, and I'm getting paid for this, and it's gone. You know, I was like, it was really interesting. It was a fun experience. Hopefully, they hire me to do another book because that was a fun thing, and I think it was I'd like to imagine that some of my suggestions are going to be helpful. So yeah, it was nice.
I mean, like, really, what is an editor? As long as you understand grammatical things, you can point out the obvious things. Beyond that, what is an editor? But someone that consumes media and knows what makes media good, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
what other expertise would you need outside of
yeah,
like?
and it's funny because like as a writer, I like I did find myself communicating things where I'm like, listen, this is obviously a wholly subjective situation where like I don't want to tell you how I would write this sentence, but I can tell you that there's something wrong, like something doesn't work here rhythmically, which I know sounds silly, you know, but there's a rhythm to the sentence structure. Like you have too many long sentences in a row or too many short, and it's not, there's something that's being lost here, and it's, you know, like, and it's so interesting to communicate those things with other writers and creators and stuff because it it's like if you talk about that sort of thing with someone who doesn't write or read much or whatever, you know, like it sounds like superfluous, or it sounds like it doesn't matter, it's stupid, or you know, but it's so important because it's like once you become aware of some of those things, or you like lose your breath in a sentence and you don't know why, it starts to, you know, it weighs on you and it weighs on the work in general, and it's, you know, it does kind of degrade it a bit, whereas, you know, if you just kind of tighten up some things, like it completely changes the structure and sings differently. And you know, to communicate that with another writer was a lot of fun and interesting because it's not something I get to do often, you
That's
know.
awesome.
Yeah. But what you did you do anything fun this?
Speaking of
Yeah.
commissioning and being, you know, using our talents,
Yeah.
Levi, our friend Levi, they commissioned me to draw a wedding gift in the style of Dragon Ball Z, and I nailed it. They loved it. Everyone loved it. And yeah, Levi took really good care of me, and I'm so thankful for it. Not only for how much Levi believes in me and
Mhm.
us, and not only how Levi is just such a great friend, but just like they went above and beyond to make me feel fantastic about myself, and I really enjoyed doing that for them. So
Yeah, 100%, dude. I saw that piece was freaking cool. Like I love that
it,
stuff. Yeah, Levi is amazing. If you haven't checked out the Talking Tremors podcast, what Levi does is unique and wonderful and just like this chaotic party that I'm jealous of the wherewithal that you have to go through that. And then just I mean, oh my gosh, some of those TikTok comments are
dude,
unbelievable.
that was pissing me off. Like Tina and I jumped on there and we just spammed gifs and likes because like, bro, like why? Like
So
this
for those
person
of you,
is
yeah, for those of you out there who don't, go watch the Talking Tremors podcast. It's fantastic and you're gonna love it. But yeah, there are some hateful, just kind of transphobic and just generally hateful monsters on TikTok who they just say the worst things to Levi, and I'm just like, and it's you know, it's not funny, but it's funny that like they mention it while they're doing the show, and I'm just like, what? Why net? Like what are they saying? What are
and
these people
like
saying? So I have to go look.
how do I say this, because it's never acceptable to behave that way, but it's not even like
That's
in a situation like
That's what,
that.
yeah, that's what I was getting at
I don't
too.
even it's never acceptable, but like,
Of course,
come on.
but
Like
in a situation where you have this person who's just passionately talking about tremors with their friends and in general,
and it
and
is just
intelligently and well, and it's just like I don't
and
understand.
just like
So silly.
raving, and and just it's so entertaining, and that's what that's your take from this? Like,
Yeah, and of
you're a
course,
fucking monster. Like, go
yeah, and
fuck yourself. Like,
yeah,
that's like how I was feeling. Like, it was
oh, I no, I get there with you, and like I have to shut off TikTok. I go to YouTube because that's where all the decent humans are. But which is weird because usually it's like
it's
traditionally
yeah, traditionally
YouTube
not true.
traditionally not true. The YouTube comment section is you know, it's a nightmare.
The
But
only thing worse than TikTok is any X-Men 97 Facebook fan page. Oh my god. Every day,
no,
dude, it is a nightmare. It's nightmare fuel.
yeah,
Like, it's
I could oh,
crazy.
yeah, but yeah, I'm with you, dude. I don't understand it. Of course, I will say thankfully when you look at the ratio of comments, it's overwhelmingly positive. People are there to support Levi in such a cool way, you know, and that's like it inspires me to want to do more live shows too with us, and like, you know, to try to like start that sort of community ourselves, or like continue it, because obviously there are people watching right now. Thankfully, hi, thank you for watching. Remember
Hello.
to hit the like button and know that we freaking love you. That does remind me though, we're going to be doing a live show, dude. We have a live show in 2 weeks.
Show.
So if you're watching this right now, set your alarms. I'm gonna post the things soon, or I think Sean already posted. I'll post the link down below so you can click it and get notified and all that stuff. But we're going to be doing a live show on July 3rd at 8 o'clock, and I'm excited, super nervous, but we're gonna get through it. I don't, Steven, what would you like to see from that live show? What do you think we should come out with?
Ooh, what would I like to see? I'm thinking like Avengers level threat. Like we're fighting just the biggest monsters, like right on camera, like
Okay,
losing our lives, like
right.
losing people that we
We
love.
died that day. The show's over. We
The
had
show's
issues.
over.
Past tense. That's.
I want to say I'm Iron Man and snap, and nothing happened though, because it's not. It's just it's real life. And
So you say you're Iron Man,
yeah,
and then the
that's
show's
not.
over. We just I'll make credits, and that'll just be it. You snap, the credits roll. That's the whole. That's our live show, everybody.
No, I hope there's a lot of friend and fan interaction. That's always fun.
Yeah. Should we do like a live Q&A then? Like, you
I
want
love live. I mean, Q&A is great.
Yeah, because we've been doing questions from the colony, and I didn't want to do it this week. I think it would be kind of cool to take 2 weeks off, so then people can save up questions, and then when we go live, they can ask us a bunch of questions.
We should play a game. I don't know how well this will work, but we should play a game called Pitches Get Stitches. But hear me out. We say, okay, we're playing, and then in the comments, people give us a movie title, and we have to like make the pun that makes it the movie.
Ooh, okay. What? Oh, okay.
Or it doesn't have to be a pun, but we have to create the movie.
The story.
They give us the title of the movie.
The title, we create what the movie's about.
Yeah,
I like that.
And typically, you know, most, as you all know, most Pitches Get Stitches is like a pretty fun play on words of some sort. So yes, like some sort of fun play on word that we can create
a story out of. That's fun. I like that idea. We can do like a crowdsourced Pitches Get Stitches.
Yes,
that's cool. I like that. So yeah,
pitchforks and stitches. How about that? Because it's like
don't kill us. But yeah, producer Sean's been helping us out with that behind the scenes, and he's going to be there live with us. And I love Sean so freaking much.
I love Sean so much.
I've also been hearing that Don't Make It Weird is recording new episodes, which makes me super excited.
Which is also so great. I mean, I understand their scheduling has been so crazy, but they're like 3 of my favorite people in the world, and that's going to be awesome.
Yeah, 100%, dude. They're just incredible. And so if you're not following them, make sure you go and subscribe to them and everything below. And join us on July 3rd for our live show. I'm going to be nervous. Steven's going to be pretty stoic and cool all the time, just like he always is. Steven, are you going to bring that sweet blueberry wine with you?
I was going to say, I should go buy a bottle of blueberry wine, huh?
I almost want to buy a bottle of blueberry wine too, just to be like, this is what I'm like. What if I get terrible? I'm just the worst on it.
You just become a mean, like
I become Tony Soprano. I'm just like, wait, he's a cryptid. My hair goes up. I'm just like, what's it? Listen, you gotta gabagool. Like, wait, get out of here.
Like, you'll never be an Italian mafia.
Please make sure you go and like hit the notify me button and all of that, so you can, join us for our live show. Let us know if you have any suggestions for what you'd like to see on the show. Otherwise, Steven, we have a week ahead of us to work on stuff. What are you gonna do this week?
I'm gonna keep progressing on the pages. I have my roughs laid out for this one, so I can actually start doing some of the finer inks on it. Nice. And then just keep, because we're getting there, man. We're really getting close. And so I always forget what page I'm actually on, but I know I'm getting really close. I know we're almost through M and her invasion into Deathless, so should be pretty close. So yeah, I'm gonna work on that page and try to get a little bit more done after that. It's my mom's birthday this weekend though, so we'll see how that plays out.
Awesome. I'm gonna try to flat at least one page this week and just see how it goes, because I'm just like I'm getting back into the groove, and then like next week I'll have off, so I should be able to get a lot more done. I'm I'd like to get more done. If I get more than one page done, that'd be cool. But I also want to work on a couple of things for the live show this week, so I don't want to like overload myself because I'm thinking about making a new intro. I'm thinking about making a couple of things to spark it up, make it fun and surprising and interesting. So but yeah, that's what I'm gonna do this week. That's what we're gonna do this week. Let us know in the comments what you're gonna do this week. Let us know what you think of the live show and what you think of our show in general. And all nice things. Only say nice things because Steve and I just don't want to hear any negativity. We love you. We love you, and we're thankful for you. But thank you for joining us. Thank you for being a part of our colony. Thank you for supporting us. If you haven't read our various books, if you haven't read Play It Again or Deathless Issues 1 and 2, the links are down below. You can find them on wehaveissuespodcast.com. We have we also have our books on Amazon Kindle and all of that. And just go check them out, and hopefully you like them. Steven, will they like our books?
Oh, they'll love our books.
They're gonna love
all
them, right?
3 of them are great.
Yeah, I think so. But do you have anything you want to say to the people before we go?
Thank you so much for loving on my bestie while I was gone. You guys are incredible. I appreciate you for doing that. Thank you so much for just supporting us, supporting me, and loving us through every walk of life that we find ourselves in. We appreciate you guys beyond words.
100%. Yeah, we love you so much. Thank you so much. I'm Anthony.
I'm Stevie Wildcard.
This is We Have Issues. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Bang! Boom! No, that was...
What was that, Steven?
Boom!
Bada bing, bada boom.
Bada bing, bada boom.
Oh, but how is everything this week? You want to anything you want to talk about that we should?
Did my light burn? Oh, okay. I guess my light just burned out.
That's weird.
Ominous.
So you're haunted now. You're being haunted.
I am haunted.
And that's what we're here to talk about today.
Well, I'm just gonna leave it like it is at the moment, and then we'll
all right, so this episode is dedicated to Steven's poltergeist. That's clearly something's going on in Steven's house. Like, did we say? What did I say? What did we say that offended your light ghost? Like, huh? I'm sorry, you don't like
talking about. Don't acknowledge
don't
it. Do not say anything to it.
It just wants to be a part of the.
It's the ghost of LED bulbs because that's what they do.